Welcome back to the program. So President Trump is very close to having almost his entire cabinet confirmed. Howard Lutnick has already been confirmed late tonight, and I'm hearing that tomorrow it's possible that Kash Patel could be confirmed tomorrow, but more than likely Thursday or Friday. The reason is because the Democrats are still trying to stall, of course, but Kash Patel passed a huge hurdle today. He passed cloture vote and came out of committee 48-45. So he's definitely on his way to being confirmed as the next FBI director. Now, I am hearing rumblings that the Southern District of New York, which is basically the creme de la creme, if you will, for the Department of Justice, and the weaponization of the Department of Justice obviously originated at the SDNY. Well, right now we're hearing that President Trump and his cohorts are pretty much taking over SDNY and installing the people that are not going to be interested in a two-tier justice system and actually will uphold the rule of law. I'm also hearing that Letitia, that's right, Letitia James could be number one to get indicted. And it could happen in the next 30 to 45 days, I'm hearing. So fingers crossed on that one, okay? A couple other things here. So apparently Judge Chutkan, you may remember Judge Chutkan, who basically had the exact same argument put in front of her by the Trump attorneys at the time. And what they said was that Jack Smith was an illegitimate prosecutor because he did not go through a Senate confirmation process to be appointed as a special prosecutor. So the appointments clause. And so she ruled at the time against Trump and against his attorneys, and basically ruled for the Department of Justice and the weaponization of the Department of Justice and the Democrats. Well, now you have 14 attorney generals from mostly blue states that filed a lawsuit against DOGE and against President Trump, and they're trying to say the exact same argument, except now they're saying Elon Musk did not go through a Senate confirmation, therefore he's in violation of the appointments clause. Well, I'll give her one thing of credit. At least she's consistent, because she told those 14 to go take a hike, and she is allowing the federal workers to accept their buyouts and get out of Dodge, okay? So this is really good news, because this sets precedent for other people that in the future are going to be offered similar types of get out of here packages where they'll give them, salary, pensions, whatever, just to get rid of them. And now it's going to be very hard for other judges to say, oh, sorry, you can't do that, when a left-leaning court and a left-leaning judge who is an anti-Trumper already has ruled in favor of President Trump and DOGE, okay? So basically what her argument is right here. She says, here it is. Based on the parties' briefing, oral arguments, and the current record, the court finds that the plaintiffs in this case have not carried their burden of showing that they will indeed suffer imminent, irreparable harm absent a temporary restraining order, and therefore plaintiff's motion is denied, Chutkan wrote. So that's good. That means that he's going to be able to get his buyouts. Now, the fact that they're litigating against it is so stupid, because there's already been precedents, right? I've already said Bill Clinton had like 200-something thousand people from the federal government cut completely. Goodbye, see you later. Back in the day, they sounded like Republicans. Bill Clinton, Al Gore, even Barack Obama at one point, Hillary Clinton, they all sounded like they were conservative Republicans. But now all of a sudden, years later, because President Trump wants to do it, oh, well, then it's got to be bad. It's got to be nefarious. It's got to be, oh, Elon Musk is looking through our personal documents. The guy's worth $400 billion. You really think he gives a shit about our personal documents? What money is he going to take from us that he doesn't already have for himself? I mean, the argument is so stupid. So anyway, that was really good news as well. The other thing is I got to tell you, man, Marco Rubio is impressive. He really is. He didn't impress me as a senator. You know, I thought he was more of a moderate, more of a rhino establishment type. But my goodness, as Secretary of State, he's killing it. He is absolutely killing it. Secretary Rubio and his Russian counterpart, Sergei Lavrov, held negotiations for 4.5 hours in Saudi Arabia, and the historic meeting ushers in a new era of collaboration, economic, and diplomatic engagement, including, of course, figuring out a way to close down and end this horrific, stupid war between Russia and Ukraine. And what's interesting is that one of the caveats, and this is again from President Trump, not from Vladimir Putin, not from Marco Rubio, not from anyone else, one of the caveats to a peace deal is they have to hold elections. Because right now they're being run by martial law because Zelensky, basically suspended elections for the foreseeable future because he was in a, quote, war, right? That's what leftist communists like to do. They get into control, they get into power, then they're in a war, and then they say, sorry, we can't have elections because, we're in the middle of a war, right? Well, Trump isn't buying that. So there's going to be elections in Ukraine. When, I don't know, but I would assume in the next 6 months probably. And they're working on ending the war. The interesting thing is that NATO is not involved, nor should they be. Ukraine is not involved, nor should they be. Zelensky is not involved, nor should he be. Why? Well, because they're the ones that exacerbated the problem and got the war to the level in which it is now. Not to mention the fact that Zelensky doesn't have any power, none whatsoever. And Ukraine is really not being run by him anyway. It's really not being run by anyone at this point. It's just complete chaos. So the people that are actually running things, President Trump and Vladimir Putin, are the ones that are going to create whatever they feel is fair to end this war. And Zelensky, you're going to have to swallow hard, buddy, because it's our way or no way. And if it's no way, you're not going to end up in a good place. You're either going to be in jail or dead because we're not playing around anymore. So at some point, Russia is going to say enough is enough, and they're going to take out Zelensky. So this is a last-ditch effort to save his life, probably, but more importantly, to end this horrific war. So we'll see what happens. But a lot of credit has got to go to Secretary Rubio and his masterful negotiation skills. He's doing a great job. I'm very, very impressed with him. Now, one thing that I want to talk about, and this is something that I put out on X, and it's something that I think, if we did exactly what I'm talking about doing, we would be in great shape for 2026. So here, I'm just going to read this one to you. So here's what it says. Let me get some smaller glasses here. How Trump can win huge margins in the House of Representatives in 2026 and make the DOGE cuts permanent. Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency are not a threat to our republic. They are, however, a very real threat to the bureaucracy. This is why the left is reacting like spoiled little children that had the car keys taken from them because they took mommy and daddy's sports car out on the weekend and got a speeding ticket. The amount of fraud, waste, and abuse perpetrated against the American taxpayers is indeed a crime so large that most of us can't even wrap our heads around it. DOGE has already identified $110 billion worth of waste in less than 30 days. If we were to take that money and we would give it to the taxpayers. After all, it's all our money anyway, right? That would be approximately $700 per person back to us, okay? Now, not bad, but certainly nowhere near where we feel we should be and where we will be once DOGE is able to reach its stated goal of cutting $1 trillion from the government. Our government, run and operated by lawless, unscrupulous Democrats, have stolen trillions of dollars from us. This is indeed the theft of the century, and those involved must be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Let's do some simple math, shall we? There are approximately 262 million Americans the age of 18 years old or older, okay? DOGE and their stated goal by 2026 is to cut $1 trillion from the federal government. At the rate they are going, this should be achievable. If we divide that $1 trillion amongst the 262 million Americans 18 years of age and older, that would be a check back to each and every one of us for $3,816.79. That's a little bit better. We're certainly headed in the right direction. We also know that DOGE discovered that people that have likely been dead for many, many years are still being issued Social Security checks, even when they are 150 years old or older. So my first question is, who the hell is cashing these checks? And if they are cashing these checks, they need to be investigated because they are obviously committing Social Security fraud, which is a felony, and they should be charged with that. Some people do have very good genes, okay? My wife's parents are both 85 years old, and her grandmother lived to be 103 and a half. So it is certainly possible that people have good genes and they can live past 100 years old and even a few years longer than that. But nobody's reaching the golden age of 130, 140, 150, close to 200. I mean, you know they actually had a few people 360 years old? Yeah, a few people. Unbelievable. So let's be fair. Let's just concentrate on those individuals who are supposedly 100 years old and higher, but no higher than 110, which would be almost astronomically impossible for someone to live that long. Does it happen? Yeah, every now and then. So I decided to take a look, and I put in a search, and I said, what does the average 100-year-old person get monthly in Social Security benefits? And the answer to that question was $1,521.17. Now, taking the number of 110 and higher, okay, which is obviously fraud, 110 and higher, there were, are you ready for this? A staggering 16,055,117 people still being issued Social Security checks over the age of 110 years old. Obviously fraud, right? How many of those are legit? 1, 2, maybe? So obviously that is all fraud. So here's my question. What if we took that $1,521.17 and we added it to the $3,816.79 that the 262 million people over the age of 18 would get? Let's also take the fraud out of the Social Security system. Let's take that money and give that back to the American taxpayers. Now you have a total amount of $5,337.96 per person. Now, It is illegal to pay someone to vote, okay? That is a crime. It's also known as an in-kind contribution. However, dispersing payments that you collected from finding waste, fraud, and abuse and rebating that money back to the American taxpayers, which is their money, is 100% legal, okay? Rebate checks have been given out by both parties throughout history. Just recently, COVID, right? People got COVID checks, right? They got COVID money. Businesses got money, right? George W. Bush, his tax cuts way back when, 2004, whatever it was, there was money back. They gave $750 to the people of North Carolina. Of course, they never had any computers to go online to try to get the money. Then they were going to offer $775 to the people in in California for the wildfires. So what I'm saying is, it is not out of the norm that people can get rebate checks. Sarah Palin, when she had all the profits from the oil exploration in Alaska, she gave back that money in monthly payments to the people in Alaska. So this is not anything new, nor is it illegal. Well, imagine and assuming that DOGE cuts $1 trillion from the government, we divert the additional 16,055,117 people that were getting Social Security payments to dead people, and instead give that money back to us, we the taxpayers, the 262 million Americans, again, $5,337.96 per person. President Trump should announce these payments 2 months before the midterm elections, and then tell the American people that if you continue to vote for Republicans down ticket and we can increase our majorities in the House and the Senate, we will then have the ability to cut another trillion, maybe even 2 trillion more. We'll get it done permanently, and the next checks that we give you will be doubled. That is how you grow your majorities legally and ethically. You do it without raising taxes or adding extra spending, because you're already taking the fraud, abuse, and waste in the trillions of dollars or whatever it may be, and you're just giving it back to its rightful owner, we, the taxpayers. There is absolutely nothing unethical or illegal about what I just suggested. This would basically be the way in which we could get permanent cuts to the federal government, number one, and number two, put ourselves and our country onto a path of liberty, freedom, and prosperity. Those are my thoughts. What are yours? Put them down in the comments below. We'll see you in the next one.